There's so many layers to intimacy, and what's going to make your love life fantastic. But one layer of it is the physical side. So of course there's the emotional side, there's your hormones, all those things, but the anatomy and your body play a huge role in it as well. So if your abs are separated, often from pregnancy, from 20, 30 years or longer, that can be affecting the function of your pelvic floor and how strong your orgasms are. And of course, your libido as well. So we're really dialing in to make sure your anatomy is properly functioning, so that you can have the most success.
We believe that you are strong by design, and you were made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're listening to the #1 Strength and Health Authority podcast in the world. So let's get ready to unlock your potential and transform your life in today's episode.
Hi, and welcome to the Strong by Design podcast. I'm your host today, Coach Tanya, and with me I have Alex Miller. Hi, Alex. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Tanya. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're welcome. It is, and we've had you before. Now, for those of you that have been listening to the show for a while, you will be familiar with Alex because we had her on. Well, we were just saying it kind of feels like 100 years ago. Sort of life has gone pre-COVID and post-COVID. It was definitely pre-COVID that I had you on the show, and we talked about your product, Pelvic Floor Strong, which just was huge and amazing. So we talked about that, and you've been very busy since then. A lot has happened in your personal life, and you're still going full steam ahead with the business. So welcome back. You have a new product that we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, why don't you catch us up on what's been happening with Alex Miller?
Absolutely. Whew. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more that it feels like it's been 100 years since I was last on here. I don't know what the time frame was exactly or the timeline, but I ended up having a beautiful baby girl who's now 2 years old. So living mom life has been my #1 focus. But alongside that, I think I was 2 weeks postpartum and came up with this brilliant idea to start a new business. And that is what we're going to be talking about today, which is called Female Vitality Protocol. So it's a pelvic floor fitness program to help women have better orgasms.
Well, I think with that, I think you've got everybody's interest now. And first of all, I applaud you for like making this product and actually being going public isn't the right thing, because when you make products, you go public because you want the public to buy them. I mean, this is how you make a living. You create these fabulous products. You want people to buy them and use them. But for being so what's the word I'm looking for? Just so authentic and just this is what it's for. This is what it's about, and sharing that so openly, because it is, I think sometimes it's something that women might talk about in small groups or with their best friend, but that person and those people aren't going to have answers that can help you. So the fact that you've launched this product, I think, is going to help a lot of women. So how did this, you said you're about postpartum, about 2 weeks or so?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So what made you say, yeah, right. So, I mean, that's any woman I interview, it seems to be the status quo, like right in a very busy, hectic kind of life is all happening at once. They come up with these great ideas. And I love that they take these ideas and actually do something with them. So what was sort of like happening? Like, how did this product come to be this thing that you were like, I'm going to do this?
That's a great question. So I would say the main reason or main place this stemmed from was Pelvic Floor Strong, talking to the ladies that are going through the program and hearing about their struggles in life and with their body and their relationships, and having orgasms and a libido that's actually on high drive or high function was a commonly thing that was always brought up. Not only did I hear about many women, I also had the same problem myself. And I found through pregnancy and the changes that happen to your body, I felt like I was like in like a little experiment myself, being pregnant and whatever. But I also thought that there was not that I know of, a product on the market that was tastefully done, and not super sexy. I wanted something that would relate for the everyday woman like myself.
Right. I love that. I love that tastefully. That was, I think, one of the words I was looking for, because I think you hit the nail on the head there with that, in that when looking at the page for your product, it is tastefully done, but it also gives this vibe of like a health. It is actually something to do with health, because, sex drive and libido is definitely something that can be affected by our health, by our lifestyle, a lot of things. And when that is gone and we're not enjoying that part of life, if that part is unfulfilled, it's like anything, it bleeds into other parts of our life that can, has this sort of domino effect. So what can you say to that, as far as this being something that if we take it outside of the bedroom, the impact on health, health and wellness, and, like overall health and wellness for women?
Yeah. I mean, for example, like when you work out and when you're active, you're happier, your mood is higher, your life is better, your relationships are healthier. And so when you're feeling good about your body, it's going to show up in all areas of your life, personally, professionally. You're just going to feel better. And, is that a good place to start? Or
it's a great place to start. So can you tell us a little bit? Clearly, we don't want you to, you're not going to give away the product here, but we do want to hear, for those women listeners, or even for male listeners who are finding that, with their wives, whether that's children, women going through menopause, places in a woman's life where hormonal changes can sort of have this impact, or lifestyle, becoming more complacent or more sedentary, can have this impact. Tell us a bit about how the program works and what it can do.
Absolutely. So there's so many layers to intimacy, and what's going to make your love life fantastic. But one layer of it is the physical side. So of course, there's the emotional side, there's your hormones, all those things, but the anatomy and your body play a huge role in it as well. I mean, as an example, and this is not a prenatal program, but it was fresh in my mind after having a baby myself. It's prenatal safe, but it's not specifically for that. I'm just going to add that in here. But I've heard from women that have diastasis recti, which is the abdominal separation, in their belly. Often it can look like a belly pooch or bulge. That is deeply connected. Excuse me, I don't know if that's my side or your side. I'm sorry about that if it is. That is deeply connected to your pelvic floor function. So if your abs are separated, often from pregnancy, from 20, 30 years or longer, that can be affecting the function of your pelvic floor and how strong your orgasms are, and of course your libido as well. So we're really dialing in to make sure your anatomy is properly functioning, so that you can have the most success.
Excellent. So were you something of the guinea pig test person for your product? Is this something that you tried and did on your own? Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, in that, because a lot of people, when they do have something, they clearly test on themselves, but they also ask friends, family, other people to try it, to give feedback. So did you do that? And if you did, what was the feedback?
Yes, I actually used a lot of the Pelvic Floor Strong women, just because they obviously were in the perfect demographic for struggling with these issues. And they found it helped them immensely. I mean, something as simple as your posture, I talk a lot about in the program, and your breathing, minor adjustments go a million miles. So I saw huge success stories happen.
Great. And you said that it isn't just for postnatal, prenatal women, or women in their 20s and 30s.
No, it's
so.
For
can
everyone.
You talk a little bit about
all
that?
Women.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this like when with your program, your product, is it a program that, kind of like a one and done, I get the product, I do the stuff, and then I'm good to go? Or is this more of like something to add into a lifestyle protocol, part of a routine, part of healthy living?
Lifestyle protocol. Yes, exactly. I mean, if you're doing this consistently for 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to notice changes in your body and your intimacy, of course, pretty much right away. But it's the secret sauce is the consistency. So always, it's like working out, or brushing your teeth. It's something you always have to do, and you want to do it because it makes you feel good.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So if I'm a woman and I'm listening to this podcast and thinking, that sounds like a product I could use, what can her expectation be with respect to, in the time frame she might start to feel or notice results, and the time commitment? Because everybody wants to know, well, how long do I have to, is it something where do I have to go, I buy a gym membership, so now I've got to go to the gym an hour every day, and I don't have an hour every day. And I can hear some of the internal excuses or dialogue some people might be having, like, well, this is something else, because a lot of us have the DVDs and the PDFs and the books of things that we've not done or we've not stuck with. So what's the expectation in terms of how soon can I maybe feel something, and how much of a commitment do I have to put into it? And again, keeping in mind, as you said, consistency is key, and you're only going to get out of something what you put into it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And great points. I'm in the same boat. I have so many DVDs and things that I've bought over the years that I've never used. This is not going to replace your workouts, because I do believe it's important to get cardiovascular activities in, and also weight training, but it's something that can actually replace, you can add it in supplementary. So you can either say, if you're working out 3 days a week, one of the 3 days could be this program. For the absolute best results, though, you're going to want to do it 3 to 4 times a week. And you can just add it onto your workout. It takes max 10 minutes. There's the 3-step movement sequence, which is 3 movements, 3 minutes total, 1 minute each. And it's so quick that you can literally just book it, like put it at the beginning or at the end of your workout you're already doing, or just instead of doing weight training one day, you just swap it out instead. Some of the exercises you can actually do while you're driving. You can do them. I often do them in the shower. So it doesn't need to be necessarily like, I have 10 minutes, I need to do this right now. You can sprinkle it across your entire day. So to kind of like, I'm kind of going in circles with that, but let's say 10 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. And it'll take about, I would say, at least give it 2 to 3 weeks to see some results. But the longer you do it, the better your results are going to get.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. So
sense.
Again, you don't really, it does. And I love how you tied it in there, that you can tack it on to the beginning of a workout, the end of a workout, shower, car. These are all things that we do anyway. So it's not like I bought the program, now I need to buy stuff and schedule and like carve out an actual specific time slot in my day to do it. So you've made it very user friendly in that it can be used almost anywhere at almost any time.
Exactly. It's all just breathing and functional movement is what it really comes down to. So just your own body weight. And as long as you're mindful about the way you're breathing, the techniques that I teach you in the program, and as long as you're bending over the way I'm teaching you how to bend over, and you can really sneak this in at any point. And by bending over, I mean like picking up something off the floor or doing laundry. You can add it in just daily activities.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's great. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that. Now, what about for somebody that it has purchased and is using or has used Pelvic Floor Strong? How will that work with this if they were doing both of them?
So it's actually funny. So the foundation of both programs started out the same. So it's the same philosophies behind both of them, but then the exercises that are included are different. So they will it's almost like they're just adding more tools to their toolbox. They've have the essentials, and now they're just getting the extra exercises.
Okay, fantastic. What would be the number one thing you want women to know about this product? Somebody that's listening to this, that's thinking and humming and hawing, what's the one thing you would say to her, that you would want her to really know and remember and take away from this conversation to factor into her decision-making process?
I have to say, it's about time that women start having orgasms. I'm tired of it being the men. So like, girl, come on. This is like, you are important, and like make a decision or take the leap for you, because if you show up for yourself, you're going to show up in every area of your life, stronger, more powerful. So I believe.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And again, I don't think sometimes I'm glad you said that. It's like kind of like women, let's sort of take back part of this for ourselves, because sexual health, a lot of times, I don't know how you feel about it, but please respond to this. I feel a lot of times, particularly where women are concerned, when we're talking about sexual health or where the topic of sexual health comes up, it really never involves a conversation about orgasms or the enjoyment of sex. It's a lot of, like it's a lot of clinical conversations that are related to, age and our transitions in life and those body changes and all of that. And it seems to be sexual health conversations, but more medical sexual health, as opposed to, I don't know if spiritual is the right word, but more of like a full body, like sexual health is also about the enjoyment of sex. It's supposed to be something that people enjoy, both men and women. And I mean, I don't think many men would argue with me that if their partner, their wife, girlfriend, whoever is not, not having orgasms, isn't, then she's probably not enjoying it as much. And that has to have an effect on men. Like I would think it would have to have an effect on the relationship.
Absolutely. I mean, 70% of women have this problem. 70%. And so that is 70%. 70%. Yeah. Yeah. And so
that's a lot.
I'm assuming, the men also are hurting in that. It's not just the women. But huge.
70%. Okay, that's a much bigger number than I would have guessed. So with that, I'm making some notes here because I'm like, that's a big number. So do you think like 70%? I'm getting tongue tied here. You can, when you make a product, the hope is that people will buy it, but that they will enjoy it, that they will like it, that they'll tell their friends about it. Mm-hmm. But do you think, or do you have any hope with this product, that it may actually create sort of more of an open door area for women, or men and women, to talk about a woman's sexual health and her pleasure, and like sort of open the door to some of those conversations? Because I think, that like if the number's that high, I just wonder if 70% or even like half of that 70% are talking about it openly. Like, this is not necessarily a physical health problem. This is another thing. What do you think? Do you think that your product can help be a springboard to that? These conversations.
Would be my hopes and my dreams, and especially as someone who is a mother to a daughter, that's something that I could only hope for her future and her relationships when she's an adult. 1,000,000% do I wish that this could be a catalyst to get those conversations started.
Right. Yeah. Now, how long has the product been out?
That is a good question. I would say it's about a year old now. I think it's been around for about a year, approximately. My timelines are really off.
Yeah.
I think it took about a year.
Yeah. No, and when you have a baby, when you have a little one. Yeah. Because when you have a little one, timelines get a little, because the timeline is all about them. It's all about, their timeline. Like, you could probably recite to the date and time when she's had her shots and all of that stuff. But a general question about yourself, it's like,
Yeah, I just
So
have,
when you're
yeah,
old,
anything else, I'm just a little gray.
yeah, totally understand. So with that, have you had women reach out to you and like very like be very transparent and like, this has really made a huge difference in my sex life. It's made a huge difference in my relationship with my husband. I mean, talk about that a little bit. What you've been hearing other than, yay, it works, I'm glad I bought it. But beyond that, what are the conversations or the feedback you're getting from women?
I mean, so it's funny. When I first launched this product, I knew it was a little bit of a risky product. Like being the face and the creator, it's a vulnerable place to be if it's not well received. And I think it might have been like the day or the first week that I launched it. I had women coming out of the woodwork being like, hey, Alex, I'm struggling with this too. I'm struggling with this too. And just hearing the amount of women approaching me, I knew right then and there that it was the right decision to take on this social risk, as you could say. But since then, I have women of all ages. I have women in their 50s and their 60s, and they're actually having a sex life again, and they hadn't been intimate with their husband or on their own in many, many years. And it's so cool to see. One, women are not alone. We're all going through it. And two, it doesn't matter what age you are, because everyone can have better intimacy as long as they put their mind to it. And that's what I've seen.
Well said. Well, right.
Yeah, thank you.
And with very well said. So would you say that right now, majority of the female demographic that are buying this product, would they be still young, like in kind of the childbearing, post-childbearing years, or older? Because I know, I think with this product, it definitely, I mean, like you say, it's appropriate for any age of a woman who wants to, improve her sexual health for a more enjoyable experience. But there does seem to be kind of two areas in life where this becomes sort of a bigger issue, like it becomes something more noticeable. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, this is not the same as it was before this. And that one of that is like before having children. And then when you hit that menopause, the age of menopause, and women go through that, and there's all of those physiological changes in the body that can make sex very painful, make it very uncomfortable, and just from an emotional standpoint can really kill libido on an emotional level. And when you kill it on the emotional level, it really does have that effect on the physical. So talk a little bit about that, about who your audiences are and, what that's like.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So this program is for women 30 plus. Pelvic Floor Strong is for women 40 plus. So that is my first baby, and that's where I started as an expert. And so I'm very familiar with the pain points that women in their 50s and 60s and 70s and going through menopause or postmenopause are dealing with. So that is definitely dialed in on the program. The newer audience, which is the audience that I personally fall into, is the younger side of that. So it was important to me to basically be able to speak to both sides of the spectrum. So the program is very much well-intentioned for women childbearing age and older.
Right. And going back to your comment earlier about the consistency. So if a woman in her 30s, she's pretty much, she's had her family and she purchases the program and starts using it and then kind of consistently maintains that for the next 20 years or so, probably her results are going to be very good using this. Like she's probably going to have a pretty nice time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the more the more when you have sex, the more sex you have, the more you want to have sex. It's just going to keep your, do you know what I mean? It's like the more you work out, the more you want to work out. Like if you don't have sex, you don't really want to have it. Right. And the same thing with working out. So by consistently staying on top of these very short and sustainable exercises, it's going to keep actually both your sex life and your activity levels, like your workout physical activity levels dialed, so they're never going down. Yeah.
Right. And it's like you say, when you're doing something and you want more of it and it becomes more enjoyable. So if you're someone that's already going to the gym, you know that the number of reps, increasing the volume over time, just consistently going to the gym and lifting weights, you're going to build nice biceps. You're going to, be able to lose your body fat. And when people see that in the mirror, they see the results. Like you feel the results, you see the results, you get all of that's connecting. It is highly motivating to get back in the gym, to keep doing it. So I would think with this product, and when we're talking about a sexual relationship, using the product, feeling the results, noticing the results is going to be that much more motivating too. Well, if it's working, why would you stop? If it's working and things feel good, and it's also improving your relationship, because I think that's the other thing we need to really consider in this. It's not, yes, it's product for women to help them improve and have more orgasms and enjoy their sex, but the impact of that on a relationship. I mean, have you talked about that with the product, or have people talked with you about it and said, it was great for me, but wow, did this ever make a huge difference in my relationship?
Yeah. And I mean, I can speak for myself and my experience with my relationship. After having a child and how that can affect you on a negative.
Yes. There's a lot of stuff.
I mean, like my fiance and I, like we both, we had it out not physically, but we had it out like quite a few arguments, and we found that this program actually brought us closer, and it made our communication stronger. And this product doesn't necessarily have to be used with a person. You can use it on your own. Self-love is real, and it can connect you deeper to yourself, so that you show up better everywhere because of it.
Right. So it's not just for single women either. Like when you say all women, it's for all women, regardless of, I mean, you have set the age bracket, but I mean, really any woman at any point in her life, and she doesn't necessarily have to be in a relationship to use this product and for it to benefit her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right on. That is so wonderful. So this program is called Female Vitality Protocol.
Correct.
Yes. Now, tell our listeners where and how they can get it. And we're going to include this stuff in the show notes, but since we're talking, just tell people where, because some listening might be like with their pen and paper right there, ready to write it down.
So you can go to fvblueprint.com and you can see our landing page. But I believe I'm assuming you'll include the link below here. I would probably just follow that link.
Absolutely.
And it'll show you everything you need to know in order to purchase the program. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the Female Vitality Protocol. Now, for those that, if this is your first time hearing me interview Alex, I did interview her before for the Strong by Design podcast, and we talked about her Pelvic Floor Strong product. So that podcast is on here. I would definitely, if you were interested here in listening to this, you definitely want to listen to that podcast as well. That was a great podcast. But before we close out, Alex, can you just speak a little bit about Pelvic Floor Strong for those listeners that may not have heard about it, may not be familiar with it, because that's a great product. And anybody that is interested in this one and is going to be looking into it, I think it would definitely benefit them to check out Pelvic Floor Strong as well.
Thank you. I'd love to. Pelvic Floor Strong is so near and dear to my heart. That was my first product that I launched. I think it was around 4 years ago. Again, timeline slightly off these days.
Yeah, around
so that program, pardon? Say that again.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 4 years.
4 years ago. Yeah. And it's for women 40 plus that are struggling with bladder leakage and also diastasis recti. So it's the abdominal separation that I mentioned earlier, because the two of them go hand in hand. So basically stopping your bladder leakage, flattening your belly, strengthening your core, all dialed into one pretty little package, and also DVD now.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Now, back when I interviewed you for Pelvic Floor Strong, you had mentioned that you had given the product to your mom because she was one of your guinea pigs in that product. And she was also a huge inspiration you make, and she was a huge inspiration in why you created that product.
I didn't actually have to give her the product because the product was created for her and myself because we were both struggling with bladder leakage. My short story about myself, and then I'll tell you more about my mom because she's more important. I was a Pilates instructor in Vancouver, Canada, where I presently live. And I would be like yelling or projecting at my class, and I'd be peeing myself, or I'd be sneezing or coughing. And again, wet pants, super embarrassing. I'm in my like early 20s. And then my mother, she's now, again, timeline slightly off, around 9 years, breast cancer free. But my goodness, I'm so grateful. But at the time, she went through chemotherapy, which jump-started her into early menopause. And with that, her hormones, her bladder started leaking. And it was a very embarrassing low time in both of our lives because it was so painful to watch her struggling with this issue. And so that is where the program came from. It was my inspiration, my dearest friend, and also experiencing it myself.
Right. So did your mom get to test run the product? Right. Oh, good. So that was the question. Did your mom test run this product as well?
She has done parts of it. Still trying to warm her up to being fully open to it. The bladder leakage one was a little bit easier than this one to convince.
Right.
But yeah, she has done parts of the program for sure.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's always good to have mom on board. Right. And and that was what I was, because I do remember that. I remember very much you talking about how your mom was a big part of when you developed Pelvic Floor Strong. So I was wondering if, what her feedback was on this new product and if she tried it at all. So.
Yeah. The parts she has tried, she would give a double thumbs up to. But I'm still working on the second half of the program.
Okay, well, she might. We'll give her some time.
Exactly.
So, Alex, where else can our listeners find you? Like where on social media, where on the internet, where can people find you?
Great question. So on Facebook, I have a Facebook group. It's called Alex Miller Wellness, which is the umbrella brand, obviously me, for both products. So I'd say Facebook is a great place. Mm-hmm. And then for Pelvic Floor Strong, I'm assuming you'll put the link below as well. But that one is pelvicfloorstrong.com.
Okay, good. And we'll have all those links in the show notes for those of you interested. And again, for our male, what would you say to any of our male listeners who are hearing this and thinking this might be something, because might be something that my wife, it may help. What would you suggest to him in terms of, you can't just walk in the door and go, honey, I found this product, I want you to try it, because that can set off a very unpleasant conversation. But what would you say to that husband who's actually thinking, this could be something that could help my wife, it could help us both? What would your comment to him be in terms of approaching it, suggesting it, bringing it up, how to maybe say, hey, here's something that could be really beneficial?
Mm-hmm. I have tons and tons of boyfriends and husbands that are buying this product for their wives. And I know it can be an uncomfortable thing to bring up, and just kind of recognizing those emotions, that they're normal to feel that way. But there's a very, very, very good chance that your wife or your girlfriend or your partner is going to be really excited that you broke the barrier and you actually brought it up, because she's probably wanting to break it too. If you haven't had the conversation before, it's something to talk about. Yeah.
Right. And I think it allows for a conversation that is not really one-sided, because this wouldn't be something you'd be like, do this because I am. This is more, I think, because of your product and what it's designed to do in terms of focusing on sexual health, it opens up a different kind of conversation. Not one about this isn't working or I'm not happy. It's more about, it just seems like this could be a program that is going to help you to feel better. And if you're feeling better, together we're going to, things are going to work better and feel better for both of us, and it opens up that conversation. This isn't just about me. I want you to have, most men want their wife, their partner, their girlfriend to enjoy that with them.
Of course. I actually should add that in the program, there's a full section on how to bring up this topic with your partner. So,
perfect.
Please refer to that section. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's a big one.
That is great. So it isn't just the program, but how to actually have those conversations. I think that's fabulous.
I mean, they go hand
wonderful.
in hand. So.
And how is, well, they do, because I mean, it's not something that in my opinion, if you stay quiet about it, it's not going to get any better. It's like anything. If you don't talk about it, it's not going to get any better. So I applaud you for including that part in the program, because I think that's going to be a huge thing for men and women to be able to talk about it.
Thank you. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to ask, being from Vancouver myself, what's the weather like in Vancouver these days?
It actually snowed a tiny bit the other day, but it didn't stick like maybe a little bit on the rooftops, but it's getting sunny out. We've been sitting on the patio in like our parkas, but spring is in the air and it's coming. We're just desperate for spring and summer. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Getting sunny.
Wonderful. Well, Alex, I can't, thank you so much for coming on the show and to talk about your product. And also, talking about it, because it is something that, it's not always easy to have a conversation. I mean, but like you have mentioned, that word tastefully, I love it. This product has been done so tastefully. You have put it together in such a beautiful way that it does focus on a woman's sexual health and her, women should be having orgasms. So we'll just say that women should be having orgasms. And if they're not, then they can get your product. And that can help them. And it includes all the conversation points to help them talk about it with their partners. So, you've helped bridge that, what could be an awkward transition. But I love that you've made this. I think it's a beautiful piggyback or a second product after your Pelvic Floor Strong. I think you're just really hitting a lot of peaks in women's health and providing products that are phenomenal. And I think that's wonderful. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. So anything coming up in the future that we can, because we're all anxiously awaiting the next Alex Miller product.
Yeah, I've been so heavily focusing on these two products. There is stuff coming down the pipeline, but I'm not 100% clear on it quite yet. So hesitant to share, but really focusing my time on these two for the most part.
Of course. Well, when the next one comes out, we're definitely going to have you back to talk about that, because I love having you on the show. I love talking with you and finding out about what you're doing, because your perspective and take on things is so fresh and so needed. I really think in the health and wellness genre. I think it's just such a fresh element that you bring with your products. So thank you for doing that from all women. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much for having me.
For those of you that, you're welcome. You're welcome. And for those of you that are wanting the product and wanting to know more about Alex, we've got, just check our show notes. So we will include links to where you can find her and where you can find the products. And we'll make it really easy for you to find the stuff, find Female Vitality Protocol, as well as Pelvic Floor Strong. And don't forget that podcast is on this channel. So if you haven't listened to it, I would strongly recommend going back and having a listen, because it pairs very beautifully with this product. Definitely.
Awesome.
So Alex, enjoy your daughter. Enjoy mom life.
We got to pick her up from
you
school
look
now.
fantastic. And, yeah, exactly. Right. But always a pleasure speaking with you, Alex. And I can't wait to have you back. I'm Coach Tanya with your Strong by Design podcast. Thank you for listening and can't wait to have you back again.
Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.